Welcome back. This lesson will cover the definite article and the only definite article that English language has. And by the end of the lesson, we expect you to understand more on the use of the word the in different parts of the sentence, how it tries to change the meanings, and from there on be a very good speaker and user of this article in the correct part where it has to be used in different English sentences. So let's start. I think in spoken English and in written English, the is one of the most common word that is used. Native speakers and particularly with people who speak English as a second language, the use of the is quite massive. It's a lot. And the one general rule of thumb that defines what the implies when it is used in sentence is that when the speaker assumes, understands that the listener on the other end, the recipient of the information, is already aware of what is being referred to. And the speaker may believe this for many different reasons, and some of these are the ones that we're going to discuss and will be able to tell us when and where the is used in our spoken and written English. So one of these reasons, or one of these situations and one of these places that we use the is when we use the to refer to something which has already been mentioned to the listener. When we refer to things, names, or nouns, and we've already mentioned to the recipient of the information, then we use the. That's pretty much what most people understand as the use of the in English language. But of course, the has different multiple uses other than the one that we've referred to now. So let's look at a couple of examples where we assume the listener has already been already been introduced to whatever we are talking about. The first example here is an unarmed man stole $1,000 from the bank on Monday. The thief hasn't been caught yet. So if you look at this sentence is in two parts. The first part has introduced a man who has stolen $1,000 from the bank on Monday. And the second part is still talking about the same man that we've talked in the first part of the sentence as a thief, and that he has not been caught yet. So in the second part of the sentence, we are using the in front of that man who is identified as a thief because we have introduced this man in the first part of the sentence. So by the time we were done with the first part of the sentence, the assumption is that the listener has already have known the person that we are talking about. So the second time that we are going to refer to the same man, we can use the. The second example is I was walking past Benny's bakery when I decided to go into the bakery to get some bread. So this sentence is just the same as the first sentence. That the first we've mentioned the word bakery for the two times in this sentence. The first part of the sentence and the second part of the sentence. But the first part of the sentence I've already introduced bakery, and in the second part of the sentence when we are talking about the same noun or the same name, we can say the because we've already introduced it in the first part of the sentence. The third example is there's a position available in my team. There's a vacant position that is ready for someone to join. And the second part of the sentence is the job will involve some international travel. So we are talking about the same position that we've talked about in the first part of the sentence, and now we are allowed to use the in that for that matter. Now let's go to the second rule, where the is used when you assume there's just one of something in that place. When you assume whatever you are referring to, whatever you're talking about is one of its kind in that particular place, even if it has not been mentioned before. So here you should be very keen, you should be very careful. The first rule said when something has already been mentioned, but the second rule is saying whether you've mentioned or not, there's a situation that you can use the when you refer to something that you think it is only one of its kind in that particular place. I think that's very clear. So let's look some examples. We went on a walk in the forest yesterday. So that is implying that in that particular place, when the speaker has made this statement, the only forest that's available is the one that he's referring to. There is no any other kind of a forest that's available there. Only one forest. So in that circumstance, you can use the. We went on a walk in the forest yesterday. The only forest that is there in that particular place. Okay? You cannot be in a place where there are different types of forest and then you use this statement. No, it will not make sense. Next example, where is the bathroom? So maybe let's say you're in a building and in that building there's only one bathroom. So you're referring to that one particular bathroom. So you can say the in front of that particular name. The third example, turn left and go to number 45. Our house is across from the Italian restaurant. So there could be so many restaurants, but Italian restaurant there's only one. So in that case, you're allowed to use the Italian restaurant, not the African restaurant, not the American restaurant, whichever. In that case, they're specific, that one, the only one of its kind in that particular place. Another example, my father enjoyed the book you gave him, not another book, the one you gave him. Okay, the book you gave him. Okay, the only one of its kind at that particular time that you've given him. There's yet another use of the, where the is used in sentences or clauses where you define or identify a particular person or an object. Okay, particular, that is the term. Okay, that's the keyword, particular, specific. Okay, let's see the examples to understand more. The man who wrote this book is famous. Which man? The one who wrote that book. It is very specific, very particular. I scratched the red car parked outside. Which car? The one that's red. I scratched the red car. So specific. There could be many cars parked outside, but the red car. You are specifying it. You are attaching a lot of particularity into it. Third example, I lived in the small house with a blue door. You're trying to make it so specific that you mention the size of that house and then the color of its door. So that I lived in the small house. So in this situation, you are allowed to use the. You can use the other examples there. Now let's go to the third or the fourth, the use of the, where the is used to refer to people or objects that are unique. People or objects that are unique. Okay, I'm going to conclude our lesson here. Let's see the examples before I close. The sun rose at 6:17 this morning. The sun rose at 6:17 this morning. So the sun is unique because it is one of its kind on earth. That's the only one. So unique is natural. The sun. So you're allowed to use the. Okay, you can go anywhere in the world. We only have one world in this world. It's so unique. We have only one sun in this world. Clouds drifted across the sky. We have only one sky. So the sky, so unique. The president will be speaking on TV tonight. In a country, in a normal situation, we have only one president. We don't have two presidents. So in that case, we are allowed to use. The same way, the prime minister. Okay, you can say the prime minister because in a normal situation, in any given country, we have only one prime minister. The CEO of the Total is coming to our meeting. Total has only one CEO. So in that case, you can refer to him as the CEO of the Total is coming to our meeting. Okay, I'm going to conclude our lesson right here and we shall be able to continue with other lessons inshallah ta'ala. Thank you so much. Bye.